Welcome to A Dark Path, a podcast exploring the depths of witchcraft, magic, the occult, and all things mysterious. Join us on this journey into the unknown, down a dark path overgrown. Find spells and rituals, folklore and legends. Come, set your candles alight to clear your mind and unwind. Delve into the shadows to uncover a dark path. Welcome back to A Dark Path, a podcast exploring the depths of witchcraft, magic, the occult, and all things mysterious. I'm Allyson Romaine, and the most important thing in my practice, I want to say my intuition, but that feels like a cop-out.
That's 100% what I was going to say, and I was going to call you a bitch for saying it first.
So let me change my mind then. The step of writing a spell. I love to do that. Plus, it feels so powerful to say it out, and it's stuff that I made up.
I'm Kristen, and I practice witchcraft daily with the simple act of infusing my coffee with happiness, joy, and patience every morning.
I'm Heidi from Wise Wolf Craft, and if I had to choose the most important thing in my craft, as Allyson and I said, both outside of intuition, for me, it's probably going to be just like the integration of new things. I feel like I'm always trying to integrate new stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a very Heidi thing to do.
Yeah, that is a very Heidi thing to do. So you're as you learn things and they resonate with you, you add them to your craft. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Powerful though, because it's constantly ever changing. You
Yeah,
get to do that.
It
yes,
keeps you
and
from
I
getting
like to
bored.
and tweaking existing practices. Like I'm big on just fucking with stuff. I take lots of notes though. You got to make it scientific, right? You got to take lots of notes so you know what you messed with. So then when you're like, well, that didn't work, and it's like, well, because you messed with it.
Wait a
So,
minute. Do you also get excited by efficiency?
oh, I love efficient shit. Why do you ask?
I love how we're the same person, all three of us.
Is it running efficiently? How can we fix it so it'll be better?
This podcast is just going to be the story of us learning how similar we are to greater
Yeah.
depth as
Okay,
time goes
well,
on.
so you know how I feel about journaling stuff and just helping you feel good about shit, but also it's like I got this pattern recognition brain. We all have it at some level, right? Why not use it to recognize patterns in your craft and improve your craft so that when you want to get shit
Absolutely.
done, you can get shit done. That's why I
Preach.
liked it. That's the thing I found is the more it was it's really interesting because people always say to you, oh, well, you only remember the times you got it right. And I, for a lot of times, bought that. I was like, oh, that's probably true. And then when I started keeping track of it, legitimately keeping track of it, I was like, oh shit, no, I'm right a lot. And I say I'm right, that's my ego. But you know what I mean? Nah, I had a vibe on that situation. I read that energy. I picked up on that. But anyhow, off to a fun start, ladies.
Today's
It's the
episode is
best.
going to be, it's the best. Today's episode is going to be about building a magical practice. Where to start? What does that even mean? How is it helpful? And other glorious tidbits.
If I was going to try to build a practice and I was starting from ground zero, the first thing I would really want to establish is why.
Right?
Why am I trying to build a practice? That right there, get that honed in, and that is going to show you where to focus your craft, right?
Okay, so let's talk about reasons why you,
Sure.
we don't say should on this podcast,
You could, you
reasons
might.
that you might be interested in building a spiritual practice for yourself, building a magical practice for yourself.
Me specifically, I struggle with being grounded. And through craft, it's helped me a ton with being grounded and being able to help me take action on things that are priorities in my life. Energetic healing for myself, for my friends, being more connected to the earth, to nature, for my own longevity and physical wellness. I had a lot of goals walking into craft. I was like, I need community, I need mental health, I need physical health. Why not some fucking abundance? Like just, you know, um, went into it at a pretty low point, really, where the list was pretty long. So when I
Yeah.
started, I was fortunate in a way because I got to kind of just go, okay, where do I want to start? Because there was plenty of room, but sometimes that can be overwhelming too. What was your experience, Allison?
I had a similar one to you where it was, yeah, I was in like a really bad place and I had started my healing journey like with more traditional methods and drug and talk therapies, things like that, right? And then I'd kind of like fallen into herbal healing, which honestly is a gateway drug for witchcraft, honestly. And once I was like really into, so I did like herbal baths, right? That was kind of the thing that I had the most access to in herbalism. And then I just kind of like snowballed from there. By then, I was taking a bath every day in the height of my mental health crisis, a peppermint bath specifically. 10 out of 10, loved it very much in the summertime. And then I would be smoke cleansing every morning as well. And I guess it was like prayer time. Like I put like quotes around it. Because that's like the methodology and like the phrasing that I know, but I would just kind of like clap my hands twice because like intuitively that felt like right. And then I would just kind of like say what I wanted to happen emotionally for me that day, right? And so that was kind of like the foundation of my spiritual practice. And the whole reasoning of it was grounding. I really needed help coming back into my body, coming back to earth, so that I could do heavy lifting emotionally and mentally. What about you, Kristen? Why have a magic practice?
Now that listening to you, I kind of feel like, oh, grounding, that makes sense. But for me, it was coming from, I just left Christianity when I found out that there was even such a thing as witches outside of like Disney and storybooks and Hans Christian Andersen and all that fun stuff. And then I was like, I got really interested in the fact of like taking back my own control, taking back my own power. And um, I don't know how else to say it, but safety, like having safety in my own body and in my own person. And that was a huge reason for me getting into it, into the craft and things like that, is because I wanted to take back my power. I wanted to be safe and I wanted to learn. I just wanted to know because to me, the more that I knew, the better I felt. Because then whether it was like herbalism and I could go through like, oh, okay, my stomach hurts, let's eat some of these things, or, if it was just the sheer, I don't know, psychotherapy of it with I always kind of think magic is a little bit of a spicy psychology too. So, yeah, that's kind of where I started and still where I dip my toes in.
So we all started in similar places. Is the benefit the same for all of us as well? So, what is the benefit of having a magical practice in your craft or for you as a person? For me, it's been consistency. And that consistency showing up for myself, doing something for myself that makes me feel good has kind of broadened my mind, right? But it's also been reaffirming that I can do things, that I am a powerful person, that I do know what I want and what I need, that I don't need someone else to tell me, and that I'm fully capable of doing that ish myself, right? And that's been the biggest benefit. So consistency has bred self-confidence. I see you're both nodding. Who wants to go first? Fight for the death.
What's the phrase? Seeing the forest for the trees. And
Yeah.
I always had such I don't know how to explain it, a very narrowed view where I was like, I had to pay attention to every individual little tree in my life. And then being able with the benefits, I can kind of prioritize. And most often nowadays, I'm not perfect at it. I'm still working at it, but I tend to prioritize myself, my family, and my friends a lot more than I used to, especially starting off. And that could be something as simple as, taking, that bath or lighting a candle or, whatever it is. But I think a lot of it's definitely brought me more into setting boundaries and being able to protect myself daily, but still let my light and my love shine.
Anyways, so one of the things that I feel like I really appreciate that craft has brought into my life, um, is like a level of self-awareness and self-knowledge that I needed to heal properly. Um, I feel like that has given me this kind of like double-edged, is that a good way of putting it? Double-edged sword? I don't know, but giving me this new lease where it's like I feel like I'm taking action on things that I can take action on, and I'm releasing the things that I don't have control over, a lot easier, like a lot with a lot less pain and a lot less leftover baggage, I guess. It's helping me process big stuff. Um, so that's awesome for me because that's what I'm looking for.
Can I ask emotionally or logically? Or do you find both? Or,
Both for sure. In that circumstance for me, emotionally is always more helpful. That's the arena I struggle in. So a little insight for me. Not that I'll ever have like logic issues, fuck, we all do. Um, but no, I've also how had it help me make big business decisions. It's helped me allow myself to trust myself, to know myself well enough to say that, like you were saying earlier, to trust, like to be able to say, no, I can make that choice. I can do this because I know. Um, it kind of came from a different place for me, it sounds like, but it's a
Mhm.
similar outcome, which is just feeling more connected to yourself and feeling like, I don't know, you could you could trust yourself to be good and make the right choices and all that kind of shit. Or if you don't, to act with integrity. Like that's that's magic.
I think that I'm on that trajectory. Like now that you're saying that out loud, I can definitely see that's where I'm going to be once I complete like this phase or this hurdle of my life. Uh, for those who are listening, I don't know if I'm going to keep this in, but for those who are listening, I'm in like PTSD therapy, I'm doing EMDR, things like that, making huge hurdles all of the time. Getting treated for an eating disorder, lots of fun stuff happening over here. And I feel like once I get through this, that's a place that I'm going to be where I feel more at home here and like more interconnected with myself. I can definitely see that end goal. I can feel that it's coming soon, right? That's really interesting.
And like everything else, I swear, it's like cycles, you know, you'll feel like I don't know, for me anyways, the experiences have been I feel like I'll know myself really well. I'll get really comfortable with a set of circumstances or decisions or whatever, and then gain new insight somehow, and then have to kind of go through and readdress all that stuff. And it can feel like that. It can feel like a readdressing, but through magic, that process has become so hot, like so enlightened and elevated. I look forward now to getting to challenge my thought process on shit and getting to try to work it out. You know, when before I didn't feel like I even had a set of tools.
I think that's a really good segue into talking about, and I'm so good at segues. They're both very excited to hear what I have to say. I think that's a good segue about where to begin building a magical practice for yourself. So we've talked about like what the benefits would be, how it's changed you, right? But where do we think people should start? And I think taking a look at where you're hurting would be a great place to start. What feels too big for you right now? What feels too much for you to handle right now? And see how you can use ritual and rhythm to kind of address those things in a magical way.
Another good starting off point, if you say are like one of the three of us and are like, okay, I really need to get grounded, so you know what area. A lot of times there's stuff you're already doing that when you do it with intention can be become part of your magical practice, right? So if you're somebody who is a really consistent water drinker, you can drink water with the intention of grounding yourself and cleansing yourself, right? You can literally cleanse the water with the sunlight or the moonlight or shungite, whatever strikes you. But there could be things in your day-to-day life, your mundane life, that you could convert to a ritual practice or a day-to-day practice that could be a good jumping off point. Um, I want to say one more thing. I said, well, I'm starting to ramble, but I'm almost done. I said water, but another good one is like, if you walking can be a form of meditation. If you do meditation or yoga, that's already in there. If you're somebody who's interested in your dreams, start translating them, writing them down, see if you're getting messages. If you're somebody who likes to look for signs, start asking for them and then find them. It's just tap into what you're already doing and try to do it with intention.
I completely agree with the meditation part. I think that's the easiest thing that people can do, even though it's the hardest thing to accomplish sometimes. Um, Setting aside just a couple minutes a day, it could be like you get home from work, you take your keys out of the car, and then you take 2 minutes to yourself to just meditate before you even open the door to go, finish the rest of your day. There's so many small ways to add it in. Like I had said at the beginning, I start my day with a cup of coffee. I am a coffee girl. I drink coffee all the time. And I make my coffee, put my spoon or my straw, whatever I'm using, and I turn it counterclockwise. And I'm getting rid of any negativity that I'm bringing to the day. And then I turn it clockwise to add in whatever it is that I need for that day. Sometimes I need a lot more patience. So I'll be like, let's throw a ton of patience in here. Sometimes it's other things, but that's a simple, simple way for me to be able to just kind of put it into a daily, everyday thing. It's not adding any time to anything because I'm already doing that. So, like a lot of what Heidi said. Also, I feel that if you have an opportunity to create some sort of an altar space, it doesn't have to be like an altar to a deity. I think that's something that I got caught up on a lot was like altar space. What I just got off of this God. I don't want to go to more God. Like, what the heck? So, setting up a space that you can put, it's almost like a visual cue of like, oh, I can take time now to do this thing. Also, it it can be your place to meditate and you can make it extreme comfortable. And if you're in the closet, like some of us had to start out where nobody could know that we were doing this thing, I legitimately had a shoebox that I kept stuff in, and that was my altar. And it wasn't like I couldn't afford like fancy gems or crystals or any of that kind of stuff. So it was literally sticks and pine cones and incense. I wasn't allowed to light incense because my stepdad had like an extremely sensitive nose basically and would just like have headaches and all of this crazy stuff. Anyways, found out it was a medical issue. Long story. And so I couldn't have like really smelly things. So I'd keep them in my box. And that was how I did it. So having like a space that you can just sit with, it doesn't have to be things, but just yourself. And I also agree, find something that resonates with you. Find something that calls to you. Because if you're trying to do divination and tarot's just not working for you, but you're constantly drawn to water, maybe that's the way you scry. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go with things. Find what resonates with you and follow them.
I feel like we say that all the time.
I know, but like at the same time, okay, if someone was to say, hey, in order to be a witch, you have to know everything about train. And I would be like, fuck you. I don't like
Bam!
trains. I mean, I would love to ride a train someday, but I'm not gonna like know the engine. I'm not gonna know what kind of wheels or whatever. I don't know that
Wheels.
because I don't care.
Did you know that the
Now,
T-rail was invented in the little town that I'm from?
No,
no, I didn't
Allison
know
knows
that.
about trains. That's
Since
what
you
we're
brought
just
up
remembering.
trains, now I'm
How
going to
did it work?
educate everyone. So Danville, Pennsylvania, was an iron town, and they developed the T rail, which is the rail that modern engines use. And it's everywhere, it's all over the place. And the T is not the T in the rail, but like the sip sip, like ooh, the tea, right? Is steel became a thing. And the Baron in Danville was like, it's a fad. We're going to stay with iron. And iron died out and steel became more popular. And that's why Pittsburgh is what it is today.
Interesting.
Very wild. Well,
Moving
thank
on.
you, Chris.
And
The
that is
more
our
you
This
show.
know,
train
because
break has been
knowledge is
brought to you
power.
by my mental health crisis and transcontinental move.
So I just wanted to throw out there two of my favorite cop-outs. Intuition. Follow your intuition. But it's so true, right? Listen to your intuition. What's the best part of your craft? My intuition. That's one. It's like it's just a go-to answer. It's a good one. And that's probably the other one, which is, like make it your own. But I can't help it. Like that's genuinely how I feel. It's like the most obnoxious answer. Especially I have so many friends who like, bless them, want me to tell them exactly what to do. And I'm like, I can't tell you exactly what to do. Like I can tell you exactly what I did, but that's not the same. Oh, okay. I've got another fun question.
Yeah.
What was the first thing that you actively integrated into like a practice? Like, what was the first thing where you're like, this is magic and I do this? Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like that's a
Yeah.
significant change.
I would uh um ooh, how do I explain this? I would smoke cleanse my room, and then like I imagined like a barrier, and then I would like light a candle for my safety and like mental improvements, life improvements, like change, things like that, right? But I didn't know specifically at the time, quote unquote, how to do a candle spell, right? So it's like purely intuitive, and it felt really good. So that was kind of the first thing that I began with, and I would do that as often as I felt like I needed to. So I was living in a situation that didn't feel great, and while I was there, I did it daily. Once I left there, I didn't do it as often. At this point in time, I'll do it anywhere between like once a week and once a month. It depends on like how the ball's rolling, you know?
One of the first times that I really realized, oh my gosh, this is magic, and I just made magic was I would take my bedroom door. So I'd be in bed and I would imagine my bedroom door as a solid black mass so that basically when you were coming towards it, looking for it, whatever, you couldn't see it. And oftentimes when I would hear storming little thunder steps, my sperm donor coming down the hallway, I would imagine that door. And there have been times where it was like he was going to, enter the room or, anything like that, that he would just like turn away or, oh, he forgot something or redirect his energies. And that was the first time where it was like, oh my gosh, I did that. That's so dark.
People often turn to witchcraft out of an emotionally volatile place. That's just the truth of it, you know? That's what we discovered on our trauma episode.
She's a 10, but she doesn't think that's dark.
Witchcraft a lot of times comes from necessity. That's all I was going to say. Is that
Yeah.
some you get into a situation where you need to protect yourself, and so you find a way, right? Like that resonates. Also, just out of curiosity for you guys, did you guys, and I think I know the answer based on what you said, but are these things that you did like before you actually had an established practice that you think of as like the full meal deal practice now? Like this is the first element and you then build upon it.
Yep.
Like, so how long do you think it was from the time you were doing this till you got to the point where you're like, wow, I actually have established a practice?
I'm still not in the thought of I have an established practice. I've been doing this for years and I still don't feel like there's an established practice. That being said, in my mind, established practice is regimented, like you do this at this time or these things on these days. I am not that person. My life does not work that way. Maybe someday I would call myself like a grand wizard or something like that because I would have every answer and all the knowledge possible. But at the same time, it's a practice. So I feel like there's constant growth, constant renewal. And if you are like me and can't do it on an everyday basis, it's okay to do it as you can. Um, that being said, I definitely am more intentional now than I was back then, whereas I would do things that I didn't quite understand as magic. But now I'm like, oh yeah, dude, I was doing it since I was like a wee lass.
Maybe you don't have a scheduled practice, but if I were to say, like, hey, Kristen, how do I get grounded? You probably have a list of things you would tell me, right? Like, or,
Exactly. Yeah.
and so I feel like maybe it's not like you don't have a schedule where you go to it and you're like, okay, 7 p.m., time to sit down and read my witch book and drink my witch tea and whatever, you know. Well, okay, weird examples because maybe you do that. But I was like, but you know what I mean?
Witch
You don't
tea
have
brew now.
to. It's not on your schedule. That's the thing. But I still would say that you have a practice. It's just yours is built a little more, there's just a little more chaos in yours. Yours isn't so firmly cemented in routine. The reason I asked that follow-up question was because my immediate thought is tarot, right? Tarot was the first thing where I was like, oh, I'm a witch with tarot cards. Like that was right. Like I had that feeling, right? But then when I think about like my actual like life and look at it in hindsight, there were definitely things I was doing with like in like with proper intention, even just not calling it craft, right? Like I had a whole thing I would do when I wanted to manifest something, when I wanted something to happen. I repeated it to myself. I would sit and spell words from it on my hands in sign language. I had all sorts of weird little things I did um, with the intention to manifest. But back then, I never thought of that as craft or as,
Yeah.
so it's interesting, right? That was kind of why I was like, for me, I feel like if I used those examples, frick, it was 25 years before I developed a practice that I actually had with intention and thought, oh, look at me, I'm doing something purposefully. But if I think about when I actively decided I want to build a practice and I want to do something with intention now, tarot was the first thing I did that with.
So I think that that's a really good point to make, though. Like at the beginning of our practices, it seems like we were all more like your awareness is smaller at the beginning of your magical practice and your healing journey through witchcraft or your witchcraft journey, right? So we don't know as much, or we've just picked up our first book on Wicca or Druidry or whatever calls to you, right? And we're just now learning about what sorts of things that witches do so that we can become one, right? Whereas now our frame of reference is totally different. And the picture for me at least is incredibly zoomed out. And even just from meeting the two of you, I see things now that I wouldn't have considered witchcraft before. But then I also see that I've been doing them all of the time.
We've been traveling together down a dark path. Now it's time to take a break and listen to some of our sponsors. This episode of A Dark Path is sponsored by...
Needing guidance on your dark path? Explore the mysterious world of Jupiter's Omens, offering handmade rituals, spells, and tools to focus your intention during spell work, vintage altar tools and decor, and intuitive tarot sessions utilizing claircognizance. Visit Jupiter's Omens, where the mystical and macabre meet, at jupitersomens.square.site. That's jupitersomens.square.site. Light the way on your dark path with Wise Wolf Craft's unique selection of tools for living with intention. From manifestation kits to altar items and divination tools, we have everything you need to connect with your inner wisdom. Wise Wolfcraft offers Reiki and other energy healing sessions, divination readings, and a variety of classes on topics like intuitive tarot and personalized spell work. Unleash the power within. Visit Wise Wolfcraft today online at wisewolfcraft.com and on Facebook and Instagram as @WiseWolfcraft. Wise Wolfcraft, tools for living with intention.
So let's talk about what our magical practices look like now. And Heidi, I'm going to make you go first.
I am somebody who I have like levels of practice, okay? I have physical health issues, mental health issues, like just all sorts of things going on. I have kids, I have normal stuff. So some days I get a lot of practice in, some days I get very little or none, right? It just, for me, I'm actually getting to the point where there's almost no days where I get no practice now. So pat on my back. But that's where I'm at, right? So if I'm having a very choice day, my days start with like a short reflection in the morning about what I dreamt about. I either write that out or just reflect on it mentally. I might even do a tarot card flip if I'm up before my kids. Okay. I would do tea most time in the morning. It's going to be a tea that's for like calming energy. So like maybe lemon balm. Like something's gonna help anxiety, but isn't gonna put me to bed. And that's with intention, right? This is talking about herbal magic, right? That's my magic there. Uh, and then throughout the day, it's going to be little things. I like to do Reiki, so I'll take time and give myself Reiki throughout the day. I'll do a little gashao when I remember to feel grateful throughout the day. Um, so it's hard because I do little different things all the time. I was talking earlier about how I like to stay in a wheelhouse, but change fucking directions like all the time. And that's kind of what my practice is like. Like, I'm going to do something to heal myself emotionally every day, try to do something physically to help myself every day. I'm going to try to do something spiritual every day. So, like, a lot of times that looks like doing yoga while listening to chakra sounds and then meditating at the end and lighting a candle. So, anyway, all over the place. Your turn.
If I cultivate a different aspect of my soul and my spiritual well-being rotationally, kind of like block scheduling or something, right? I feel better. And so my magical practice is built around that. It's not about worship or doing the right thing. It's about solely taking care of my soul. I also have a gratitude practice like Heidi does. I also do try to do mindfulness Mondays. So like, that stupid branding stuff people were doing on their blogs in 2014, right? Like I'll do something for each day. And it's not always on Mondays, but I try my damnedest, guys. Chill and have meditation or try to infuse mindfulness into each part of my day. Fridays I reflect on the previous week and I'll look at all the good moments I collected on my phone. Then I also get more complicated because it makes me excited. I'll do things in coordination with the moon cycles. Drug and talk therapy is part of my magical practice as well, which is not a very popular take, but I'm here to be a mental health advocate. It's my life purpose, I've decided, and I'm going to be annoying about it. So
I feel like this is a very hard question for all of us because I don't know if this feels true for you guys, but since I've started to like really lean into craft, I want to turn it like to put it everywhere, kind of like
yeah,
I'm trying to put it in the garden and make it in the kitchen and put it in how I'm raising my kids and put it in,
Oh, sing with that song, but what? In the butt?
in the butt,
What? In the
in the
butt?
butt.
stick it in the boot.
I find that it's hard to decipher my magical practice because to me it's not a big ceremonial thing. Most of the time it's just a small dose every day, like a little bit here, a little bit there, and infusing it into everyday
A small
practices.
dose.
A small
In the
dose. Now
butt.
we're stuck on pills. Small
Pills
dose
and
in the
dicks.
butt. Oh
But
my
I,
God.
I agree, and I think it's insidious. Like I always think of like I don't know, like putting on your makeup is glamour magic if you
Right?
want it to be.
Buckling your seatbelts.
Yeah, but yes, I exactly. It's like and I'm here for that. Like I you guys want to hear something funny I realized? I've literally think that I owe my friend's mom an apology because she told me that if people read Harry Potter, everybody was going to want to be a witch. And I was sure she was wrong.
Uh,
And here we are. And I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but I'll tell you, I am so here for it. Like every level of me is like, oh, is that a spell? Can I make that a potion? Because I've been doing it since I was 11 years old.
Yeah. What about
So,
you, Kristen? Were you also a witch in childhood? Yeah.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We were just
Um,
hopeless from the get-go then.
basically, I mean, before Harry Potter, there was blowing your wish onto the dandelion.
Yeah.
I always forget
Or
what they're
your
called.
freaking
Like,
birthday candles.
yeah. Or like you do the, what is it? Don't step on a crack or you'll break your mother's back.
I was
Like
just
that kind
thinking
of
oh,
about
stuff.
that. Yeah.
stuff comes way, way before Harry Potter, no doubt. I just find
Yeah.
it very ironic that my friend's highly Christian mother warned me of this, which
Oh,
was
Honestly, I just want it to be on the record that my favorite childhood magic thing was snapping wishbones.
oh my
oh,
gosh, right?
that is fun. Oh yeah,
Ooh, what's
dude.
my
Like
favorite
you have
magic?
enough cousins too, that you'll draw blood for Wishbone.
Whoa. The bagel or the beagle, I mean. The bagel.
The
Oh,
Thanksgiving
bagel.
bagel, classic. Very magical.
Wow.
You know what we're
Yeah, no,
talking,
I'm
you
just like
know
thinking
where
about
we
it. I'm
are,
like,
Kristen? You're like,
no, I'm out of it. I'm still thinking about like what was the very first magical thing that I probably did, not knowing that it was a magical thing.
I got one. One of
What?
my earliest childhood memories, I would dangle a piece of bologna as I danced. My mom had made me a fairy costume. So it was like this pink like dress that was very modest. It was like the fairy godmother in Cinderella. And I loved it. I would put that on and I would play the Lion King cassette because I had the soundtrack on the cassette. And I would sing Elton John songs to my dog, waving a piece of my dog's plural. We had three of them, dangling a piece of bologna for my audience. And that to me is magic.
Reminds me of like, what is it? Cinderella when all of the birds come in, and then like even Snow White when she's like, "Ah," and there's like
Yeah.
animals everywhere. That's so crazy.
I spent a fair amount of time trying to control the wind with my mind as a child. That felt pretty magical also. I would be like, if this plant blows, it's my wind, like all the time. Like I could not, like it was just like
That's
nonstop, like
awesome.
for a long time, like till like middle school, like weirdly old. Like I want to be real. But
To
also,
this day, I waterbend in the shower.
yes, thank you. I'm like, but also it's really hard not to pretend you're controlling shit when it's happening sometimes. It's just funner.
Speaking of Kristen waterbending in the shower, what does your magical practice look like, Kristen?
Oh yeah.
My magical practice is a here and there. It
A
varies
Hobbit's
with,
Tale by Bilbo Baggins.
oh God. Yeah, wait a minute. Is this a comment on my hairy toes?
The title of his book, Here and There Again, A Hobbit's Tale by Bilbo Baggins.
That was funny. I like it.
I'm glad you know that.
Heidi got it. You know,
I'm a nerd. I'm just not that kind of nerd.
1 out of 2. What's that supposed to mean?
I just don't, I mean, you couldn't tell me the difference between, I know Frodo.
Maybe you
You couldn't
don't.
tell me
Like
who.
you're just saying that. Like,
Frodo and Bilbo have the same birthday. It's September 22nd. It's known as Baggins Day. Their last name is Baggins. Bilbo Baggins, Frodo Baggins. Frodo is Bilbo's nephew on his
Dragon.
mother's side.
I don't
And they're
even
on
know
his
my family tree. Like,
111th birthday. And a bunch of his relatives show up before the birthday to steal his shit, but he locks them out.
Right.
Yeah,
And
good
they're
stuff.
pissed because he left Frodo his house,
Right. Because who's fucking Frodo?
his nephew on his mother's side. He's not a Baggins, but he is a
Yeah,
Baggins
exactly.
because Bilbo took him in when his mother died.
oh.
Married to Took.
So about your magical practice, Kristen.
So my magical practice for a long time was reactive. So something would happen and I would react and try to figure out a way out. Now, more of it is proactive and cleansing. A lot of cleansing. I do so much cleansing. There's so much out there in the world that just like gets sucked like little burrs onto velvet, and I have to get it off. I try my darndest every month to re-up my sigils, wash down my doors, do all of that kind of stuff at home. but I also give myself a leeway of about 5 days because sometimes I can do it on that day and sometimes I can't. God, a lot of it is just incorporating daily things. Like when I take a shower and I cleanse off the energies, I renew myself, I meditate on something. A lot of it is, I don't know, not speaking out loud things, but a lot of it is like internally in my head. Like traffic may be bad, but I'm going to get home safe. Like things like that, that kind of like are a daily thing, but it's just little bits here and there. Or I do sometimes have like the grand ceremony type thing because it's fun. Like it's fun to like, I'm gonna bathe and I'm gonna put on my nice robe and I'm gonna meditate and I'm gonna light
Yeah.
candles and it's so much fun. You do you, boo boo, but I am never probably ever going to do sky-clad naked dancing out in a forest. First off, there's bugs. Second off, I'm allergic to almost everything, and I don't want a poison ivy rash in my butt crack. Okay. So that's just not my kind of witchery.
And I'm over here like, don't knock it till you try it. And I didn't hear a full no there.
Wow.
I was like, you spoiled my next event for us. I had a plan. I had it all worked out. Fucking, I was just gonna talk to us about appropriate eye contact.
Ah,
Can I wear
that
a
is right
No
here.
bathing
for being
suit?
naked. Eye contact. All eye contact.
I've done naked hot tubbing. I've done like
You've done
definitely
naked
some
hot
things.
tubbing?
Oh,
Who
dude,
hasn't?
in the winter, it's so nice.
I'm a total square.
Time to change shit. You got weird hippie friends now. You're in Washington. Take your clothes off and get in the hot tub.
Ah,
Welcome to
hot tub.
Washington.
Dude, it was wonderful. It was like a dark night. It was warm in the hot tub. It was cold outside. So you had like the juxtaposition of the two like
Yes.
varying degrees and then like clear sky and it was just wonderful. It was wonderful. But it was me and one other girl and it was like comfortable. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
bunch of people,
I have
you know.
questions, but we'll get to it another time. What things do we think people should include in their magical practice?
Patience.
Clearly, I'm a big fan of ritual naked dancing. Actually, I'm kidding about that. Oh, Lord. Okay. No, I would include any kind of magical learning. That's like one of my favorite things. I love finding new witchy books, new witchy ways of doing things.
Mhm.
Um, and then just to beat a horse to death, I guess. Find something that you already do or already like and make that witchy. That's what I would do. You like to garden? Be a little witchy gardener. Grow yourself some magical herbs, put some copper in that shit, like whatever.
I'd say patience. Have patience with yourself
Ooh.
because yeah, there's a lot of times where you're like, I did this spell and nothing happened. And dude, the universe works so crazy because it takes that in and it's like, I don't think you're ready just yet. It's coming. It's coming. There's so many different things that like, well, God, my brain just went off to, also perfectionism. Kind of get rid of that too, because I struggle with perfectionism. And sometimes the candle's going to burn down sideways. That's not something that's wrong with you. That's the candle, that's the universe telling you something. So extrapolate that, get whatever information you can from it, but get rid of the perfectionism because nothing in life is fucking perfect. And I'm going off of this 80% rule. I'm trying to set myself. If it's 80%, it's good. 100%, that's just icing on the cake. So have patience with yourself, take the time to learn and reflect on even what goes right, but also what goes wrong or what doesn't go at all. And then you can kind of piece things together in your own specific magical way. Yeah.
I like that. I think consistency can fall in there too, because people oftentimes make themselves feel bad for not doing like I mean, I hear it at shows all the time. Oh, I'm not doing all the magic that I should be doing, or I'm not doing it as often as I should be doing. And anything worth doing is worth doing poorly.
I love that. I
Yeah,
also think people are so critical of themselves. How
aren't we
often
all?
do you hear people say that and then proceed to tell you about some like wild practice that they're doing? Like, well, yeah. I was doing
Christina,
a while I was reading tarot in the moonlight with my candles lit and my magical robes, and I'm like, what the fuck? You're not doing enough. Like, what do you mean?
I think a good thing to include in your magical practice would be cycles of some sort. So obviously I'm biased. I cycle like weekly and monthly, right, with the moon and days of the week. You don't have to do something like that. Um, you could even do what I've done though and make up your own sort of a cycle or rhythm. That way you don't get bored and you're focusing on something new each day. So if you're only doing your magical practice for 2 minutes a day, rotating through different themes would probably be a good idea. And by different themes, I mean stuff that takes care of you. So things that you're interested in, things that bring you joy, things that help you feel better, things that help you feel stronger, stuff like that. How often do we think people should have a like do their magical practice? How often should people practice magic?
Every day.
I think people should practice magic as often as they need it. It may be more depending on what your needs are. Like I have to strong, but I feel like for me, I have to have a daily routine of some level because a big part of my journey is developing my consistency, is developing a daily grounding thing. I'm trying to do this as a job. I don't get to have the luxury of being like a fucked up empath for a week. Like I need that to go away, right? Um, so, but not everybody's in that position. So I think it's because another one of our favorite cop outs. I feel like it really depends on the person. Like it's really gonna be up to you how often you need to practice.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm willing to take a stance. I'm
I
willing
want to
to
hear it. I would
say,
love to.
yeah, I think that every day we should all be doing something for ourselves. And so if that's your magical practice, which based off of this episode is our opinion, right? Self-care and self-growth is part of a magical practice. Doing something daily to cultivate your soul should be done. So I'm willing to say whatever you include in your practice, do something every day that you are fully capable. Now, I like that being said, I do take days off, right? Like I have depression, I get it. Like some days are harder than others, but doing something, even if it's just a shower, right, is beneficial and it helps bolster your intuition and your self-confidence.
Like that. Because I definitely am along the lines of do something, you do something every day. I feel like we've already kind of explained that there's so many times that we're already doing something that we don't even realize or notice. But if you can't do something, start to pinpoint the things that you're already doing. And that could be really beneficial because you can be like, oh, I didn't do any meditation for the last month. Yeah, but every morning that I put sugar in my coffee, I imagine the sugar as all the blessings that we're going to receive throughout the day. That's magic. Like so if you can't do it every day, that's okay. That's fine. Again, that's where the patience and the forgiveness a little bit of yourself comes in. But find what you're already doing if you can't figure out how to add more in. I personally like to, at the end of the day, if I literally lay down and I go, oh my gosh, I have not done anything witchy today. I have not lit a candle or an incense. I haven't meditated or, I still call it prayer. Some people are like, that's strictly Christian, but I pray, things like that. So if I lay down at the end of the day and I'm like, I haven't done anything, sweet. There's a couple minutes for me to meditate. And then oftentimes I try to link my meditations with my dreams in hopes that something that is trying to come through will then do it. So it's almost like a cheat code, kind of like, I'm just going to do this and go to sleep and wake up and hopefully something will be there. If it's not, oh well, I still took a couple minutes to meditate before I passed out.
Anything you would just say, that sounds like a bad idea. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know if there is something, but that would be something worth thinking about for a minute here.
I think anything that takes too much from you, too much energy, too much effort. I mean, you want to challenge yourself so you grow, but at the same time, we're talking about a daily magical, like we're talking about a magical practice, like routine, right? And if it costs you too much, you probably don't want to add that into your regular rhythm, right? Maybe you want to do like I've done, where I do a full moon and a new moon ritual. So that's 2 times a month I'm doing moon magic, right? So maybe you
I think
want to
that's really
like,
good advice.
yeah. Whereas if it costs too much, you're not going to keep up with it, A. And then B, you're literally paying energy to something that's not filling you back up.
Yeah, kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah. Whereas like your regular rhythm of magic should be something that builds you up and fills you up and makes you feel, and we don't like to use the word should, but your regular practice really should build you up and make you feel better.
Actually, so that's a really something I could should behind, which I don't should behind many things, but I think that I truly don't. Um, but I do think that for your regular day-to-day practice, the main keeping the main goals surrounded in things for stability, right, is a wise way to approach. Um, and that would fall in the same wheelhouse as what you were saying, right? Because I think that when we heal, we face a lot of darkness, and we can be it can be really overwhelming. It can be very easy to have your healing process be traumatic because it's too painful. It's too much too soon. This is where learning to be honest with yourself, right? Because there's a difference between challenging yourself appropriately and pushing yourself to tears and days of misery every time you sit down to do a specific type of magic, which that sounds weird, but like, and I don't want to point any fingers and nobody feel called out, but some people find shadow work very challenging. Okay. So sometimes when people sit down to do shadow work, that's not a fun time. And if sitting down and doing shadow work becomes part of your every night routine, that might be hard. That might be hard on you emotionally. It might be hard on you physically. So and maybe it won't be. Everybody's different. But for me, sitting down and doing shadow every night, that's enough. That'd be a lot. She's a bad girl to look at. I like her, but whew, bitch, every night, I don't know.
So I think that people should definitely stay away from anything harmful. So harmful to yourself, harmful to the planet, or harmful to others. Perfectionism, over analyzing yourself, and like kind of just, oh, poo-pooing everything that happens because sometimes things aren't going to do exactly what you were thinking that they were going to do. Sometimes you didn't have a clear intention. So learn from it and just grow.
Our next episode is going to be on moon magic and also menstrual magic and how the two correlate together. I know Heidi's very excited. She didn't know that. Thank you for coming and chatting with us today, Heidi, as our captive guest.
Our forever, what is that? Stockholm Syndrome
Thank you
guest.
for joining us today, Heidi, as our belle.
Aw, you guys are so wonderful. I always love being here. Thank you. I do not feel captive or Stockholmy at all.
You can check out Heidi's business, Wise Wolfcraft, on socials. You can also follow us on socials at A Dark Path Podcast.
We are always looking to connect. If you have topics you'd like us to discuss, questions, or just want to get to know us, please email us at adarkpathpodcast@gmail.com. See you next time.
It is now that our time together must come to an end. Thank you for joining us on this journey, a dark path come to a bend. Find us here bi-monthly on your favorite place to stream, and follow us on social media for news in between. A dark path is there, winding and waiting ever. May you craft peace, knowledge, and alignment, so shall it be, or something better.